and the rate now is at 45.6, trying to break the 23 point percent Fibonacci line, going up to 38%, and also trying to go through that pivot. But we started the uptrend at 1.415 and 1.410. We started here, I think, was the break, and at this time it was April 1. Okay, and when it broke, it took 2 weeks. Okay, it took 2 weeks to change 300 to change this much, which is around 300. Okay, 300 basis points. But it took 3 days to change 300 basis points downward, in the downward direction. Now the reason for that, why that is because it's because gravity is at work here. Gravity is at work at anything. It's at work at light. It's at work at anything. It's at work at the minds of the people. You know, so in that way, it's also represented in the here in the currency values here. We have the printed currency values. So this really, you have to pay attention to downward turns, because they will develop a lot faster than upward turns. Upward turns will take a lot of time, and the downward turns will take a really small amount of time, a very short time. So actually, you know, at this time I waited for it to hit resistance lines. Was actually what I'm still waiting for it to hit resistance lines. As you see, this is the really good part, and kind of shows the potential of that area. You see, there's so much potential here, right? There's a lot of potential, because why is there a lot of potential? Because resistance line is not used. Okay, so this is a lot of space here, white space. Now, in this area, see, support lines were used and they're being broken. Like I said, that's why I said that we know this is in a downtrend, because support lines are being touched, progressively touched, and resistance lines are not being touched. That is just naturally, I think, explainable. And if we go to this day, we go to these days. Let's say we go here. Okay, at this day, the trend line would have looked like this. You know, on this day it looked like this. So of course it's in a triangle, and you're thinking, where's it going? And then it breaks the lower side. So then at this day, let's say we put it here. We put it at the resistance. We put it at the support line. Or we put it here at the lowest price. We don't know what this price is. These spikes. It could be, if this is a market maker, you know, or you know, it could be trying to take out stops or something. You know, something that the market maker did. This little broker did. But so you may want to put it at the support line. But you can do what you want. I suggest using pure ECN, using pure data for your calculations, because you don't want to use market makers' data. That will not be good for you. For your analysis, your technicals. Okay, so now what happens here? On this day now, we have a little support here, okay, and then we have a break, okay, so it's continuing sliding. So what is it saying? It broke this, it broke the angular value of these two support lines, of support days, again, okay, on these days. So what happens? Then we have to take this, we take this new thing here, nothing is new, we take it and we change it here, so now we have a change it to this day. There's a support line. There's a support line, and this is the new situation. So what does this indicate? What this is saying is that the downward direction is getting hotter and hotter. Okay, it's getting really hot, because if you look at the angle, it's almost straight down, and the angle is never straight down. So it means that it's getting really hot, and it will have to slow down pretty soon. We don't know when, we don't know if it is, but we know that the market never reaches 90 degrees, and especially for a long time. So on the other side, on the other hand, you see on the other side here, the resistance line was never used. Resistance lines were never used. So what does that indicate? a larger and larger potential for buying, basically. Okay, so so basically at this time you would start to think like a contrarian. You will start to think that, oh, possibly 90-degree angles are never achievable in the market, and there's a lot of white space uh, from the resistance to the current rate, okay, from the current last resistance to the current rate, which means that of course someone is going to look at this as a really profitable opportunity. But if it is profitable at this time, if it is as profitable as they want, that's not we don't know, but we can follow the technicals to confirm it. So that's on the long side. Now really why I then the other thing is that you can use this retracement, okay, usually in a direction, all right, as my name indicates here, okay. I call these videos 1.618FOREX, okay, and there's me 1.618FOREX. So I think that the 1.618 is the 61.8% retracement, and is also inversely symmetrically the 38.2% retracement, because this is 68%, or 61.8%, and this is 61.8%. So you're always looking for that, and just like you're looking for 1.618%, okay, you're always looking for that, because 61.8% is 1 over 1.618, and this is actually this 61.8%. This is actually this 61.8%. And so what you're actually trying to do is achieve some type of inversion of 1.618. So you're always looking for that. Well, how am I around 1.618? And if you are then it's probably time for the turn. But if you are not, if you are lower than 23.6, usually you'll always be lower than 23.6 in a trend, in a strong trend. Usually you could be lower than 38.2. It could hit one time 38.2. Usually you could get lucky and hit 50%. But the general point is that the general statement is that usually in a fast downward trend, you won't go higher than 23.6. And you may get lucky if you're in a trend. You may get lucky to hit 38.2. Less likely to hit 30.2. Likely, but less likely. And then less likely to hit 50%. And then even more less likely to hit 61. Okay. But usually I don't look at 50%. That's the trader's number, and I don't look at trader's numbers. I look at natural numbers. So, but if you hit 61.8, and you are there for a long time, it should only happen it should be a very highly accelerated spike, you know, a highly accelerated thrust, and then continuing in the normal direction, in the trend direction. But if it is there for some time, okay, like a day or 2 or 3 days, something like this, but it's actually just moving in the middle, I would say that this is not a good indication. And if it's progressing more and more towards 100%, then you're probably changing the trend. So let's go into knowing that, okay, knowing the long picture. As you see, this is an M30, and I can see almost 3 weeks here, 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm going to go into the M5, which now I'm looking at 3 days, okay, which is 72 hours, and this is a lot. This is much more my my area and what I prefer. Now, in this area, okay, well, look closer here. We can see time zones. There, I like to use acceleration. So I use acceleration to trade these trades. I don't use trend. I use acceleration on acceleration. I'm testing these now. So if you're interested, I plan to sell the method for €1,000, and I have something working now, which I will tell you in detail a little right now. So don't mind these two little ones, but this indicator is the acceleration indicator, and here it is not combined with Heikin Ashi, and here it is combined with Heikin Ashi. Now, if you can see that at this rate, there is no indication for the upward for an upward direction here, but there is indication for up direction here. Now there's an indication for up direction here, and there is no indication for up direction here. These are at the same times, same currency. Okay, this is live, and you'll see that this formula is using Heikin Ashi. It's using a Heikin Ashi for the open highs and lows and closes for the acceleration factor for the SAR, which is this is based on acceleration. Okay, but instead of using normal highs, lows, and closes, the opens, highs, lows, and closes, I'm using an average, which is the Heikin Ashi average, and you can see that it is filtering these trades. Now, I'm not just using acceleration. I'm not just using Heikin Ashi. All right, I will explain my complete method to you, but I cannot get paid for it. I will